Yo, YouTube, man, what do YouTube? It's boy CJ Plus, man. So today, we got the disturbing relationship between NBA Youngboy and his godmother. Let's do it.
What happens when the person who's supposed to protect you becomes the person you need protection from? NBA Youngboy, one of the biggest rappers in the game right now with over 11 million YouTube subscribers and billions of streams, has a godmother story that will leave you speechless. Her name is Kyrie, and while she claims she saved him when he had nobody, the truth is far more complicated and disturbing than anyone could imagine. In his song, I'm Bored, Youngboy dropped a line that shocked everyone. Kyrie really is. How she entered Youngboy's life when he was just a struggling kid in Baton Rouge. How she was there when his beloved grandmother passed away. And why Youngboy's own mother, Shahonda Golden, threw shade at her on Instagram saying, "Where was I when other people were raising my kids? Two sides to every story." Today we're exposing the full truth about NBA Youngboy's godmother, from the good she did to the disturbing allegations that have everyone talking. Stay until the end because what we uncover will change how you see this entire situation. Let's get into it. To understand this story, we need to go back to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, where a young Kentrell Gaulden, better known as NBA Youngboy, was growing up in one of the most dangerous neighborhoods in America. This wasn't a fairy tale childhood, this was survival mode from day one. Kyrie Oliver, also known as Kyrie Garcia, wasn't some random person who stumbled into Youngboy's life. She was a counselor working with the Marine Corps program, specifically assigned to Capitol Middle School in Baton Rouge. Her job was to mentor at-risk youth, kids who were struggling academically, kids who came from poverty, kids who were on the verge of being swallowed up by the streets. According to multiple sources, including an interview Kyrie did with KSL News, she was placed at Capitol Middle School to work with students who were in danger of not graduating. The statistics were grim. In neighborhoods like North Baton Rouge, where Youngboy grew up, the dropout rate was astronomical, and the pipeline from school to prison was very real. For those who don't know the full context, let me paint the picture. North Baton Rouge in the early 2000s was a war zone. Young boys were getting recruited by gangs before they hit puberty. Fathers were locked up or dead. Mothers were struggling to survive, and kids like Kentrell were falling through the cracks of a system that had already given up on them. This is where Kyrie entered the story. She was 24 years old when she was assigned to work with 6th grade students at Capitol Middle School. Kentrell Gaulden was one of those 6th graders, a kid who was already showing signs of the trauma and anger that would later fuel his music. It was just an ordinary day at Capitol Middle School when Kyrie Oliver first encountered the kid who would become one of the biggest rappers in the world, but nobody knew that then. All they saw was a troubled 6th grader who was on the verge of being held back, a kid with anger issues, a kid who was already gravitating toward the streets. According to Kyrie's own...
But ain't gonna cap, all he been through is just like, it, like, from his mama not taking care of him, to his grandma raising him, to his daddy being locked up. So really, he ain't had nobody but his grandma. And not being around your mama or your daddy, that do cause anger. Cause it's like where my mama at, you feel me? Like my mama just abandoned me, like probably felt abandoned, like abandonment type shit.
Account, she was assigned to mentor Kentrell because he was struggling academically. His home life was unstable. His father, Jeffrey Tate, was locked up for 55 years for armed robbery and attempted murder. His mother, Shahonda, was young and trying to figure out her own life. And while his grandmother, Alice Golden, was doing her best to raise him, she was already in her 60s and dealing with her own health issues. Kyrie saw potential in Kentrell that others didn't see. While teachers were writing him off as another statistic, another kid who would drop out and end up dead or in prison, Kyrie believed he could be something more. She started working with him regularly, helping him with his schoolwork, talking to him about his future, trying to keep him focused on something other than the streets. But here's where the story gets complicated. The relationship between Kyrie and Kentrell went beyond the typical mentor-student dynamic. According to multiple sources, Kyrie became so involved in Kentrell's life that she eventually became his godmother. This wasn't just a professional relationship anymore. This was family, or at least that's what it was supposed to be. The Marine Corps program that brought Kyrie to Capitol Middle School was designed to be temporary. But even after the program ended, Kyrie stayed in Kentrell's life. She continued to mentor him. him.
I
And
just had a
according
little
to her
cold
own
as hell.
statements, she was there for him when he had nobody else. Before we can fully understand Kyrie's role in Youngboy's life, we need to talk about the woman who was truly his everything, his grandmother, Alice Golden. Because the truth is, Kyrie didn't step in when Youngboy had nobody. She stepped in when he had his grandmother, and later when his grandmother passed away, the void that was left was something nobody could fill. Alice Golden wasn't supposed to raise her grandson. She was already in her 60s when Kentrell was born in 1999, living in North Baton Rouge on 38th Street in a neighborhood where gunshots were more common than ice cream trucks. But
On,
on 38th Street in a neighborhood where
that big got one dread, and I don't even know what the
shots were more common than ice cream trucks. But when life fell apart for her daughter, Shirhanda, and her grandson needed someone to step up, Alice didn't hesitate. "My grandma was my everything," Youngboy said in interviews, and you could hear the pain in his voice when he talked about her. "That was my protection, my comfort, my protector." This wasn't just some generic statement about family. This was a young man acknowledging that one person stood between him and complete abandonment. Alice Golden's house on 38th Street became Kentrell's sanctuary. While the streets outside were filled with violence, drugs, and chaos, inside her home was the only place where he felt safe and loved. Alice Golden didn't just take care of Kentrell, she loved him unconditionally in a way that nobody else ever would. She cooked for him, helped him with homework, disciplined him when he acted up, and most importantly, she made him feel like he mattered. But Alice Golden was dealing with her own struggles too. She was raising a child on a fixed income in a neighborhood where basic necessities were expensive and hard to come by. She was watching her grandson deal with trauma from his father's absence and his mother's inconsistent presence, and she was trying to protect him from the streets that had already claimed so many young men in their community. The bond between Alice Golden and her grandson was different from typical grandparent relationships. She wasn't the fun grandma who spoiled him on weekends. She was his primary parent, his emotional anchor, and his only source of consistent love. "My grandma gave me anything I mean," Youngboy remembered in interviews. "My grandma made me feel loved." This wasn't just about material things. Alice Golden gave him emotional security that allowed him to develop into someone capable of love and loyalty even in the midst of chaos. When Alice Golden passed away around 2017 to 2018, NBA Youngboy lost more than just his grandmother. He lost the only person who had ever loved him unconditionally. The impact of this loss cannot be overstated because it fundamentally changed who he was as a person and as an artist. "So, as she died, I seen like just this very big difference inside everything," Youngboy explained in interviews. And this difference was immediately apparent to everyone around him. The young man who had always been intense and emotional became even more isolated and guarded after losing his grandmother. "When she died, I ain't never felt that feeling again," Youngboy said, referring to the feeling of being truly loved. This statement reveals the profound impact of Alice Golden's death on his emotional development. The loss of unconditional love at such a crucial time in his life left him unable to trust or connect with people in the same way. The timing of Alice Golden's death was particularly devastating because it came just as Youngboy's career was really taking off. He was achieving the success that she had always believed he could reach, but she wasn't there to see it or share in his accomplishments. This is where Kyrie's role in Youngboy's life becomes more significant. According to her own statements and various sources, Kyrie was there for Youngboy during one of the darkest periods of his life. When Alice Golden died and Youngboy was dealing with grief, legal troubles, and the pressures of a rapidly growing music career, Kyrie stepped up. In her interview with KSL News, Kyrie claimed that she helped guide Youngboy when he was on the verge of being held back in school, and that she continued to be a presence.
I do remember saying that. I do remember saying this on social media. I think I saw it on Instagram. I want to say it was Instagram, if I'm not mistaken.
His life, even after he dropped out of high school in 9th grade. She positioned herself as someone who believed in him when others didn't, someone who saw his potential and tried to keep him on the right path. For those who don't understand the hip-hop industry, this is important context. When young rappers start to blow up, everyone wants a piece of them. Managers, promoters, hangers-on, and people claiming they were there from the beginning all come out of the woodwork. The question becomes, who was really there and who's rewriting history to benefit from someone else's success? According to multiple sources, Kyrie was indeed in Youngboy's life during his formative years. She was there when he was just Kentrell, a troubled kid from Baton Rouge with big dreams and bigger problems. She mentored him, supported him, and according to her, she never gave up on him even when he made decisions that could have destroyed his future. But here's where things start to get murky. Youngboy's fans know he ended up spending 2 years on house arrest in Utah. But what most people don't know is that Kyrie Garcia is allegedly the reason he was able to serve that house arrest in Utah instead of sitting in a Louisiana jail. According to sources, Kyrie had connections in Utah and helped facilitate Youngboy's house arrest arrangement there. This was a huge deal. House arrest in Utah, away from the...
For that right now, she came in so clutch, I swear. But that's what happens when you know people, though. You got connections.
Violence and chaos of Baton Rouge gave Youngboy the space and time to focus on his music without the constant threat of street violence. During those 2 years, he released some of his most successful projects and solidified his position as one of the hottest young rappers in the game. So on the surface, Kyrie was the godmother who came through when it mattered most. She was there when his grandmother died. She helped him navigate the legal system, and she watched him transform from a troubled kid into a superstar. This should be a heartwarming story about mentorship and loyalty, right? But things were about to get a lot more complicated. Before we get into the disturbing allegations, we need to address the elephant in the room. Youngboy's mother, Sherhonda Galden, and her very public shade toward Kyrie. After Kyrie's interview with KSL News, where she talked about stepping into Youngboy's life because his mother wasn't around, Sherhonda took to Instagram with a cryptic but pointed message. On her Instagram story, she wrote, "Where was I when other people were raising my kids? 2 sides to every story. Don't make me humble your ass." Now, if you've been following NBA Youngboy's story, you know his relationship with his mother has always been complicated.
Fact.
Youngboy himself has said in interviews and songs that his mother wasn't always there for him growing up, that she was young and trying to figure out her own life, and that his grandmother was his primary caregiver. But Sherhonda's Instagram post raises some interesting questions. What was she implying? Was she suggesting that Kyrie's version of events wasn't entirely accurate? Was she hinting that there was more to the story than Kyrie was letting on? And what did she mean by "don't make me humble your ass"? Was that a threat to expose something about Kyrie? To understand this situation, we need to acknowledge the complexity of black motherhood.
First and foremost, we can't just go off one side of the story. So with that being said, is we will never know the full truth because Sherhonda ain't never told her side of the story. You feel me? So that's just like let me see. That's just like a person that's saying that they been SA when the person saying that and the person don't even never, the person that the allegations on don't even never speak about it. But the person that's saying they been SA come to the internet and say something about it. Of course, we ain't gonna know who to believe because we got one person that ain't saying nothing at all and another person saying this. So we can't even just go off one side of the story. We gotta hear both sides of the story so we can put the puzzle together. You feel me?
Especially in communities affected by poverty, incarceration, and systemic racism. Sherhonda was a young mother dealing with her own trauma and challenges. Her baby's father was locked up for 55 years. She was trying to survive in one of the most dangerous cities in America. And yes, she made the decision to let her mother raise Kentrell, which many people have criticized her for. But Sherhonda has also been somewhat open about her struggles and has never completely abandoned her children. She's been present in Youngboy's adult life, and despite their complicated relationship, there's clearly love there. So, when Kyrie went on television and essentially said she stepped in because Sherhonda wasn't there, it makes sense that Sherhonda would feel some type of way about that. Because from her perspective, she was there, just not in the way that others expected or wanted her to be. But there might be more to Sherhonda's shade than just defending her role as a mother. Some fans and observers have speculated that Sherhonda knows something about Kyrie's relationship with Youngboy that makes her uncomfortable. The phrase, "don't make me humble your aid," suggests that Sherhonda has information that could damage Kyrie's reputation if she chose to reveal it. What could that information be? Well, that brings us to the most disturbing part of this story. In NBA Youngboy's song, "I'm Bored," released in 2020, he rapped a line that made everyone do a double take. "My godmother wanna sleep with me, I thought I was your child."
What? So now this come to conclusion of saying, you done help me come this way, and now you start liking me after you've been calling me your godson and all that. Now you start liking me and wanting to sleep with me. That's crazy. Or maybe she, I don't know. I don't know, because she said that she got something going on with the Marine Corps. So she got some pay. So it can't be for the pay. You feel me? So it gotta be feelings involved in between. It gotta be feelings involved with her.
Let that sink in for a moment. NBA Youngboy, one of the biggest rappers in the game, publicly stated in his music that his godmother wanted to have a physical relationship with him. The woman who was supposed to be his mentor, his guardian, his protector, allegedly wanted something completely inappropriate from him. Now, Youngboy is known for being brutally honest in his music. He doesn't sugarcoat things, and he doesn't make up stories for shock value. When he says something in a song, it's usually based on real experiences and real feelings. So when he said his godmother wanted to sleep with him, fans immediately started asking questions. Who was he talking about? Was it Kyrie? And if so, what exactly happened between them? To understand this allegation, we need to look at the timeline. Kyrie entered Youngboy's life when he was in 6th grade, around 11 or 12 years old. She was 24 at the time. She mentored him through middle school and maintained a relationship with him even after he dropped out of high school. By the time Youngboy released I'm Bored in 2020, he was 20 years old. He was also a millionaire, a superstar, and one of the most talked about artists in hip-hop. He had money, fame, and influence that he didn't have when he was just a kid in Baton Rouge. Here's where things get really uncomfortable. Some fans have alleged that Kyrie's relationship with Youngboy wasn't as innocent as she claims, even from the beginning. There are rumors, completely unverified but persistent, that suggest Kyrie's involvement in Youngboy's life might have crossed boundaries when he was still a minor. These allegations are serious and should be treated with caution because they haven't been proven.
So basically, he's saying that why be godmom? They intercourse. She had intercourse with him while he was young, while he was still a minor. That's basically what you're saying. At least that's what I'm getting out of it.
But the fact that Youngboy himself said in his music that his godmother wanted to sleep with him gives these rumors more weight than they would otherwise have. One theory that many fans have is that Kyrie's feelings toward Youngboy changed once he became rich and famous. When he was just Kentrell, a broke kid from the hood, she was his mentor and godmother. But once he became NBA Youngboy, the millionaire rapper with millions of fans, maybe she started seeing him differently. This wouldn't be the first time someone close to a celebrity developed inappropriate feelings once money and fame entered the picture. The entertainment industry is full of stories.
But she got paid though. Marine Corps. She was dealing with the Marine Corps. She got paid. She just ain't got fame. Literally. That's the only thing she don't have is fame. Well, she got a little bit of it, only cause they took pictures together and all that, and you feel me, you know. So she got kind of low key both.
Stories about people who were just friends or like family until success changed the dynamic of the relationship. But here's what makes this situation particularly disturbing. If Kyrie did develop romantic or physical feelings for Youngboy, she would have known him since he was a child. She would have been in a position of authority and trust. And any relationship beyond mentorship would be a massive violation of that trust, regardless of when it happened. As if this situation wasn't strange enough, Kyrie recently got NBA Youngboy's name tattooed on her body. When fans found out about this, the internet went crazy. Why would a godmother get her godson's name tattooed on her? Is this normal godparent behavior?
I mean, but she said that she got now she got all 3 or 4 kids tattooed on her. So it's like, why not? Like I got my other 3 sons tatted, 3 or 4 sons tatted on me. So why would I leave my godson out type? You feel me?
Or is this evidence of something deeper and more inappropriate? Some fans defended the tattoo, saying it's not that unusual for godparents to show their love and support for their godchildren in permanent ways. But given the context of Youngboy's lyrics about his godmother wanting to sleep with him, the tattoo takes on a much more disturbing meaning. The tattoo suggests an obsession, a level of attachment that goes beyond normal godparent-godchild relationships. Combined with Youngboy's explicit statement in his music, it paints a picture of a woman who may have crossed boundaries that should never be crossed. Despite the disturbing allegations, we have to acknowledge that Kyrie did play a role in NBA Youngboy's journey to superstardom. According to her own account and various sources, she was there during crucial moments in his life and career. When Youngboy was on house arrest in Utah, Kyrie was allegedly instrumental in making that happen. Those 2 years in Utah, away from the violence of Baton Rouge, gave Youngboy the space to focus on his music and build his career. During that time, he released projects like AI Youngboy, Until Death Call My Name, and Reeler, all of which performed incredibly well and solidified his position in the rap game. Kyrie watched Youngboy go from a kid who might not graduate middle school to one of the biggest rappers in the world. She saw him accumulate millions of streams, millions of fans, and millions of dollars. And according to her, she never forgot where he came from or the struggles he overcame to get there.
This season, you've got places to go, people to see, and things to do. You may have already gotten vaccinated.
In interviews, Kyrie has positioned herself as someone who believed in Youngboy when nobody else did. Someone who saw his potential and helped him realize it. She's proud of his success and considers herself part of his journey. And to be fair, Youngboy has acknowledged Kyrie's role in his life. Despite the disturbing lyric in I'm Bored, he hasn't completely cut her off or publicly denounced her. This suggests that their relationship, whatever it is complicated. Maybe she did help him in significant ways. Maybe he does feel grateful for what she did for him. But maybe he also feels uncomfortable with how her feelings toward him evolved. The question becomes, can someone be both helpful and harmful?
Yeah, but we'll never know, bro. We'll never know, cause we ain't, like, YB ain't never told how he felt about it. You feel me? So we'll never know.
Can someone genuinely care about you while also having inappropriate feelings for you? The answer is yes. And that's what makes this situation so complicated. Kyrie may have genuinely wanted to help Youngboy succeed. She may have seen his potential and worked hard to keep him on the right path. But if she also developed romantic or physical feelings for him, especially if those feelings existed when he was still a minor, then her help comes with a very dark side. This story isn't just about NBA Youngboy and his godmother. It's about power dynamics, exploitation, and the vulnerability of young people in the entertainment industry. When adults are placed in positions of authority over children and teenagers, there's an inherent power imbalance. Teachers, counselors, mentors, and godparents have influence over young people's lives, and that influence can be used for good or for harm. If the allegations about Kyrie are true, if she did have inappropriate feelings for Youngboy or acted on those feelings, then she would have abused her position of power. She would have taken advantage of a vulnerable young man who trusted her and depended on her for guidance and support. The entertainment industry has a long history of adults exploiting young talent. From managers who steal money to producers who demand physical favors, the stories are endless and disturbing. Young artists, especially those who come from poverty and difficult backgrounds, are particularly vulnerable because they're desperate for success and willing to tolerate inappropriate behavior if they think it will help their careers. NBA Youngboy came from nothing. He grew up in poverty, surrounded by violence, with a father in prison and a mother who struggled to be present. When Kyrie entered his life and offered mentorship and support, he probably felt grateful and indebted to her. If she then developed inappropriate feelings for him, he would have been in an incredibly difficult position. How do you reject someone who helped you when you had nothing? How do you set boundaries with someone?
You can't reject somebody that helped you. Like, you can love them from a distance, but even then, you like, but she didn't help me come this way. Because at the end of the day, it's like, but if I wouldn't have had my mentor or my guidance or whatever, I probably wouldn't even be here today. So she played a big role on. She played a big impact on my life, you feel me? Like, she low-key helped change my life, for real. Keeping it 100, at least that's how I see it.
Someone who has power over your life. There's also an important conversation to be had about how society treats male victims of inappropriate relationships with older women. When a young man is involved with an older woman, especially if he's successful and wealthy, people often don't take it seriously. They make jokes, they congratulate him, they act like it's not a big deal. But if the genders were reversed, if this was a story about a 24-year-old man mentoring an 11-year-old girl and then allegedly wanting to sleep with her once she became famous, everyone would immediately recognize it as predatory and wrong. The same standard should apply regardless of gender. NBA Youngboy's lyric, "My godmother wanna sleep with me, I thought I was your child," is a cry for help, a statement of confusion and betrayal. He's saying, you were supposed to be my family, my protector, and now you want something from me that you should never want. That's traumatic, regardless of his age when it happened, or his current success and wealth. When you look at the whole picture, the story of NBA Youngboy and his godmother Kyrie is a complicated mix of genuine help, questionable motives, and potentially predatory behavior. On one hand, Kyrie did enter Youngboy's life when he was struggling. She did mentor him, support him, and according to multiple sources, she did help him navigate difficult situations, including his house arrest in Utah. She watched him transform from a troubled kid into a superstar, and she's proud of the role she played in that transformation. On the other hand, Youngboy's own words in his music suggest that Kyrie crossed boundaries that should never be crossed. His statement that his godmother wanted to sleep with him is disturbing and raises serious questions about the nature of their relationship. The recent tattoo she got of his name only adds to the concern that her feelings for him go beyond normal godparent affection. Shurhonda Gaulden's cryptic Instagram post suggests that there's more to this story than what's been publicly revealed. Her warning to Kyrie, "Don't make me humble your AE," implies that she has information that could damage Kyrie's reputation if she chose to share it. There are still many unanswered questions.
Would you be happy if you stayed where you are in life and job forever? If the answer is yes, then this video is not for you. But if you want to...
In this story, what exactly is the nature of Kyrie's feelings for Youngboy? Did anything inappropriate happen between them, and if so, when? What does Shurhonda know that she's threatening to reveal? Why did Kyrie get Youngboy's name tattooed on her? How does Youngboy really feel about Kyrie now? These questions may never be fully answered because the people involved have reasons to keep certain details private. But what we do know is enough to raise serious concerns about power dynamics, exploitation, and the vulnerability of young people in the entertainment industry. At the end of the day, NBA Youngboy's story is a reminder that success doesn't erase trauma and money doesn't heal wounds. He lost his grandmother, the only person who loved him unconditionally, and he's been searching for that feeling ever since. "Only time I ever feel love is when I walk on stage," he said, which is one of the saddest statements a person can make. Kyrie may have helped him in some ways, but if she also violated his trust and crossed boundaries, then her help came at a cost. And that cost is something Youngboy will carry with him for the rest of his life. The relationship between NBA Youngboy and his godmother Kyrie is a cautionary tale about the importance of boundaries, the danger of power imbalances, and the complexity of human relationships. It's a story that makes us uncomfortable because it doesn't fit into neat categories of good and bad, helpful and harmful. What we can say for certain is that NBA Youngboy deserved better. He deserved adults in his life who protected him without expecting anything in return. He deserved mentors who maintained appropriate boundaries. And he deserved to grow up without having to navigate inappropriate feelings from someone who was supposed to be his guardian. As fans and observers, we need to take his words seriously when he tells us something was wrong. We need to believe male victims when they speak up about inappropriate relationships. And we need to hold adults accountable when they abuse their positions of power over young people. NBA Youngboy is a superstar now, with millions of fans and millions of dollars. But he's also a young man who's been through more trauma than most people experience in a lifetime. His music is powerful because it's honest, because he doesn't hide his pain or pretend everything is okay. When he rapped, "My godmother wanna sleep with me, I thought I was your child," he was telling us something important. The question is, are we listening? If this story shocked you, drop a comment below with your thoughts. Do you think Kyrie crossed the line? What do you think Shurhonda knows that she's not telling? And how do you think this situation
this story definitely shocked me. And hey, y'all tell what y'all think about it in the comments, bro. It's about CJ Clutch, but I'm gone, gang.